Hey everybody, I'm the Lunchbox, and this is Movie Battles. Today we're going to be talking about The Ritual. Now, this is a Netflix original movie. I think it's the third horror that I've actually seen from there. The first other two would have been Babysitter, which is a dark comedy, and the other one would be Open House. And Open House was pretty terrible, other than the ending. So with other than the ending was pretty fantastic, actually. I'm not a big fan of super happy endings, especially in horror films. So with this movie, The Ritual, the basic plot is there's four, I believe, British guys who go on a lad's holiday every year kind of thing. And they usually go to places like Amsterdam, things like that, but for one reason or another, they decide that they go to Amsterdam and go hiking. And basically that reason is that one of their friends passed away, and it was kind of his idea to go on this hike. So it's a tribute to him. It's like 6 months after that guy passed, they go to it. So these four friends in the middle of, I believe, Sweden, and to go hiking, and so what happens is they go up, they do their ritual, and instead of taking the trail back, one of them hurts their knee, so they decide to cut through the forest to cut some time. Once they get into the forest, the horror begins, obviously. So, the easiest way to look at this movie, I think it's pretty much like the Blair Witch Project. If you take the Blair Witch Project, take away that shaky cam, and so you got the woods horror survival. And they're trying to get away, and some really weird shit starts happening. Now, I gotta say that it's a very cool setting for this film. The woods give a very claustrophobic atmosphere to it, even though it's in an expanse, but the way that it's so many damn trees in it, it's kind of tough to see anything. So it's very claustrophobic in that sense. Really nice, beautifully shot scenery. And when it comes to the actual monster, the Wadtun or something like that, it's Nordic. It comes from the Nordic. I believe it means giant. But the monster in it is stellar. One of the coolest monsters I've seen in a long time come out in a horror film. So I think they did that right. Some of the killing in it is really cool. It's got a very ritualistic thing. I'll save some of that for later on in the story. I'll just skip that. The movie has some really cool, trippy dream sequences, and they're really well done. Those parts in the movie are the best parts of the movie, in my eyes. It's just the guy kind of reliving what had happened with their friend passing. It's really cool. They did a good job on that. I think if they had more of that in the movie, or maybe it was just enough in the movie. Maybe it was just enough in the movie. I thought it was really good anyways. One of the bad things about this movie, it's got the typical dumb ideas that they use for plot devices to keep the plot moving forward. I think they could have done a lot of different creative ways to make that go, but it's always, you know, some idiot deciding to do one thing that is obviously the dumbest thing you can do, the dumbest choice in that situation. But they do it, and that's how they get into more and more trouble. So that's one thing I didn't like about it. When it comes to the acting was really good. I felt it was very realistic. Like, these felt like chums from a long time. All right, so like they probably grew up together, and they interacted the way we naturally interact with our friends. At least how I naturally interact with my friends. You know, got your you're harassing each other and bugging each other, name calling and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely in there, and they did a really good job on that. And when it came later on to the horror part, and like where they're supposed to be scared, you really feel that they're terrified in those moments. Really well done. I definitely feel that there could have been more to this movie than what we got. Don't know how to explain that any better, really. I mean, the way that it kind of ended, it makes it tough. It makes it tough to make a sequel afterwards, I think. So I feel like there could have been more exploration into some of the interactions in the wilderness. That being said, I think they could do another movie. It would have to be a prequel, though, or something like that. There's a section in the film where they come across, you know, a wallet in the wilderness, and I think they could do a movie about that, about those people that were in the same woods. So you could have the same kind of story, maybe rehash it, maybe tell a little bit more about this creature that is killing everybody. So going with that, I'd say it was an okay movie. It's not the best thing that's out there in the horror genre or in film genres in particular, but it was okay. It was well done. It was way better than Open House. That one was just terrible throughout the movie, except for the ending, like I said earlier. Probably the best horror that I've seen that has come from Netflix so far. I thought they did a good job. Oh, was Holidays a Netflix original? I don't think it was. But this was really good. And this one was okay. I enjoyed it. If you like those horror movies that are set in wilderness survival kind of style, then you'll probably like this. Cult following kind of films, you might enjoy this as well. I'd say give it a shot. If you like horror movies, do it. If you don't like horror movies, it's definitely not worth your time to watch. So going on, I can go on to some spoilers. So before I do the spoilers, just please like, subscribe, do all those wonderful things you do, share, comment down below if you've seen the film or if you're interested in the film. Give me some comments, I'll talk back to you. So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual monster in this film. It is so cool. It's like a weird giant elk thing that's made up of like a half elk and some human corpses or humans mixed in. The head is like torso and arms holding antlers. And then inside of that, you got two glowing eyes and two hands inside that he uses to pick people up and impale them on trees. Some of the coolest scenes. The cool scene at the end when he impales the guy in very slow action scene. Awesome. Love that. I think there's actually even a set of hands that come out from under below. I'm not too sure. It's kind of odd how they presented it. It's definitely the best part of the movie. No, I shouldn't say that. It's definitely one of the best parts of the movie. The other being the dream sequences, which are just killer. Another thing that's kind of neat is when they're waking up terrified and they've had like these nightmares, because that's what this monster seems to use, is your own great fears against you before killing you. And the terror that they have when they wake up is just sucks you into the film drastically. I do wish that you would learn more about the cultists in it and maybe some more origin of where the monster came from. I think that's something they could have tapped into, or tap into if they do a prequel or a sequel or something like that. The ending I was a little let down by, and a lot of people keep saying that you have like only two ways that this kind of horror movie could have finished. And that's with everybody being dead, or like the last one or two people looking like they're going to get out and then they die in the last second or the last frame of the film. Or you have one survivor. I disagree. I think there would have been a better ending to this. Instead of when he runs off and he gets out of the woods that they chase, you have that whole chase sequence, but it just keeps running back to the cult area. I think that would have been way cooler, like the cult settlement, running back to it. Each time he runs away, it just leads back there. I feel like this demon monster should have some control over the woods, because you definitely get that vibe that it does have some control over what's going on, up until it got away. So it was kind of silly how they did that. I think if they kept him coming back, they could have at some point had a scene or a shot that showed him succumbing to the demon's wishes and actually becoming one of the cult members as well. I think that would have been a much more emotional scene. It would have been better for sucking you into the film for sure. Definitely left a lot more options for sequels and prequels. And I think if they would have done that, it would have been a much better movie, and there would actually be something to talk about here, and one that I would recommend everybody see. That's the only thing what killed for me was the ending. Kind of really took all the joy out of the film that I already had. So, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got for it. It was a pretty quick review. Like I said before, if you watch the spoilers, please like, share, subscribe, do all those wonderful things. Check me out on Facebook. It's this.is.moviebattles, Facebook. I post all my videos up there. I also put a bunch of trailers up there as I get them and post them to there. Until next time, watch more movies.